Well, I think it was a fantastic day. It was a fantastic weekend for the University of Alabama. First of all, to have all the players that came back for, the golf outing, the basketball tournament yesterday, the flag football game today, the big dance and party we had last night. There was a special spirit about getting all those former football players back and former athletes back, and they've been great ambassadors for this university. So that was a fantastic start to it. I thought the way our players competed out there today, the effort was good. I thought there was a lot of toughness. I don't think the execution was always what you'd like for it to be in terms of crispness, but I was pleased with the overall performance with a limited offense and a limited defense of how our players competed in the game, how they played in the game, and I think the most important thing now is that we're not an offense, we're not a defense. We come together as a team, and I think that all the choices and decisions that this team makes between now and next year in terms of what their commitment to a standard of excellence is, how we continue to improve, how we develop as a team, whether it's the work ethic that we have, the accountability, the responsibility to do the things that we need to do to everyone do their job, the positive energy we do it with, and the togetherness and leadership that we have to get everybody to do it on the same page. All those things are things that when you develop a good team, you have those elements. But I was really pleased with the overall outcome today. We didn't get anybody injured, which is always the most important thing. You really can't lose a spring game unless you lose players. I think it's fantastic, the atmosphere that's created by our fans. I mean, to have over 90,000 people at the spring game, I think this is the second most since the first one in 2007. Sends a positive message about passion, enthusiasm, tradition, great place to play in terms of interest and enthusiasm, and we were excited about it. I know a lot of the recruits that we're here today. We're excited about it, as well as our players that we just finished recruiting. And there's nobody that appreciates it more than the players on our team. And I've been places where you really work hard to try to get players to finish spring practice. We have to work on getting our players to focus on the last practice or two because the A-Day game is such a big deal. They're looking forward to the game. They want to play in the game, and I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing for college football, and I think it's a good thing for our players. And it's all due to the fan support and the interest and everybody coming out to support the team. So we were pleased. We're really pleased and happy to have ESPN here. I know it slows the game down a little bit with the commercials and the organization of it, but the exposure is great for the program and our players. So we're certainly happy that they were here, and hope that they were pleased with the hospitality that they received while they were here.
Coach Saban, could you explain the Nick Saban overtime rules in A-Day for me?
We were just going to keep playing. There wasn't going to be overtime. It was going to be sudden death. Everybody was going to go for it on fourth down. It was getting implemented there with 2 seconds to go. And the other team was going to take their shots because somebody's going to eat steak and somebody's going to eat beans on Monday. Other than that, it didn't matter. But as a commissioner, I have to represent the winning club, so therefore I have to eat steak, and that's the way
What were some of the questions that were answered this spring, and what are some of the questions that weren't?
I think the big questions are just individual in nature in terms of personnel. We've lost a lot of good players on defense. You're always looking to try to get your best players on the field in spring practice, get them in the right places, and hope that the younger players on your team that have an opportunity to have a greater role on the team develop and improve. And in a lot of cases we had that happen. We still have some questions. We still have some issues. I think Mike Williams had a really good sort of spring at tight end. That's a question that we have. We're really pleased with the progress that the quarterbacks have made so that we feel really comfortable about the strength and depth at that position. Offensive line, we feel like we have probably 7 or 8 guys that could go out there and play for us right now, which we really probably haven't had that kind of depth at this point in the season. But we still feel like we have to make progress at right tackle, regardless of who plays that position. Defensively, we lost 3 out of 4 starters on linebacker. We lost, 5 out of 6 guys that played in the secondary, a large role, and a lot of those questions have been answered. Dante coming back, he's had a pretty good spring, even though he's not 100%. His leadership affected everyone else. I think we made a lot of progress as a defensive unit. I've been pleased with the progress of the first 2 corners, and having the 2 freshman guys here, I thought they both made some progress. We still have room to grow there. We're not totally settled at safety, but we still have questions. Kicking game, I think we have 2 good enough kickers that between the 2 of them, between their accuracy and leg strength of one guy, accuracy of the other, we could come up with a pretty good kicking game from that standpoint. We really don't have a punter. Taylor Farr was probably the best punter. He got a concussion the other day in practice, so he didn't get cleared for today. And he would have been out there punting, and the kid did a better job as he settled in, and he has some ability and could develop into a decent punter. But we're going to have 2 young kids in that position next year, and one of those guys are going to have to come through. So there's still questions, but there's a tremendous amount of progress that has been made. And we're not satisfied with where we are, but we're certainly not disappointed in the progress that has been made to this point, and really look forward to working with the group between now and the first game so that we can continue to make progress in other areas. And I'm sure there's going to be some young players that come in this fall that are going to contribute to the answers of some of these questions.
Coach, can you comment on what you saw today from the younger quarterbacks behind McElroy?
Well, they all did pretty well. A.J. did a nice job. I thought Phillip did a good job. I thought Starr did a good job. I thought all of them, did a pretty good job. The thing that probably concerned me the most out there was that we didn't do a lot of multiples of pass rushing, and I would like to see the quarterbacks have a little more solid pocket on a little more consistent basis. And I think we need to work on improving the pass protection part of it. That has not been an issue, but I the last 2 scrimmages, the last scrimmage and today, we need to make improvements in that area.
Nick, you're not a big guy who cares what's going on in August with the polls, but is this team going to be deserving of that preseason #1 ranking that's likely to have?
Well, I really don't want to comment on that. I don't think that if this team is #1, it's because of what they did last year. It's not what they've done. They haven't done anything. And, we have some good players back, and we have a lot of issues and questions, especially on defense, especially with the specialist in the kicking game, and how those problems get solved, and what kind of commitment to and attention to detail this team has to improve and focus on the process of what they need to do to be successful is going to determine how good this team is. And that can't be determined in a poll, and it doesn't make any difference what anybody thinks. It's not where you start, it's where you finish. And I think that's what our players need to understand as well. If I was voting, I wouldn't vote it. I would think there's somebody that has more players coming back that had a successful team last year that is going to be more ready to compete, that way. But do I like our team? I love our team. Do I like our players? I love our players. Do I think we can develop into a good team? Absolutely. So, but I'm not a big poll guy, so